So now we are going to verify a soldering practice. So how we need to give a soldering on a general circuit board. When the boards are concerned, we have a two types of a board. One is a green color like structure, the second one is a brown one. This green color structure type of a boards are called as a printed circuit board. So here, if you bought this kind of a boards, we need to directly keep the component on the top and simply we need to solder it. So here we need not do any kind of a circuit connection. So all the circuits were printed on the back side of the board itself, and this board is called as a printed circuit board. This is the example of a printed circuit board. Now we are going to do another board is called as a GCB, general circuit board, and this board is PCB, printed circuit board, and this is GCB, general circuit board. So when you have a general circuit board, and each circuit line we have to frame by ourselves. We need to have our own line to make this terminal charges to link with this terminal charges through the conducting link. This conducting link has to be designed by us only. We only have to frame our conducting path in a GCB. This is the main drawback of this GCB, but it is a good to practice with this. First, we need to have a conduction over here with the component, and the continuation has to be done by us only. So here I am showing you one circuit, and the same circuit we are going to assemble it on the general circuit board. Since you can compare, here we have one resistor, parallel to that of the resistance we have one capacitor. This is this capacitor. Again parallel to that of it we have another resistor. Between the last resistor and this resistor we have one capacitor which is connected between these two limbs. So we have given as like that. Again, whenever we are using GCB, all the components should be lie on the top, and the circuit connection has to be given on the back side of the general circuit board. Now we have placed all the components on the top. Now we are going to give a soldering on the back side. Wherever we have a line, in that line we need to have to create our own tracking. Now we are going to perform this kind of a circuit designing. So this component is said to be soldering gun or soldering iron. So always whenever we have a soldering, we need to use this soldering lead. We need to keep both on one point so that the bottom of that hole has to be attract the lead point, the melted lead. So the first point is fixed. The same way you need to repeat it for all the terminals. At the end we need to have the link between the components by us only. In electronic part, we are going to measure a ripple factor for a half wave rectifier and full wave rectifier, where ripple factors are nothing but multiples of fundamental frequency. Whereas while we are going for a power conversion from one form to another form, it has the fundamental nature. As an example, a rectifiers are the circuit which is used to convert AC to DC. While we are converting AC to DC, in some cases it looks like an AC only, but absence of a negative cycle, then we will call it as a pulsating DC also. So if we have a pulsating type of a DC, then how much of the basic nature it has is said to be a ripple. We are going to determine those ripple factor of a half wave rectifier as well as the full wave rectifier. The component required for this experiment is we must have a center tapped transformer. In the normal transformer we have a 2 terminal. When you go for a center tapping, it has a 3 terminal. So the main advantages of using center tapping is we can get the 2 ranges of an output. Here we can take 0 to 9 volt or directly 18 volt we can take. That is the advantages of center tapping. So for the conversion purpose, we need to use a diode as a switch. Here for the half wave rectification, we need to use one number of a diode. For full wave rectification, we need to use one pair of a diode. And for a load purpose, we are using a resistance. To check the output, we are going to use CRO, where CRO is called as cathode ray oscilloscope. It has the ranging from 0 to 50 megahertz. The main advantages of oscilloscope is the digital values are easily viewed by naked eyes. For the verification purpose, we need to use a multimeter and breadboards or wire required to perform this type of an experiment. So this is the circuit diagram of a half wave rectifier. Since here we are giving AC as an input to a transformer, it is stepping down and it is giving it as we are taking 9 volt. So 9 volt. And this 9 volt is given input to the diode forward biasing condition, so that here we have only one diode, one half only getting conducted and the negative half, this will be act as a off switch. During conduction period, the output is going to be passed through the load resistance. Since the input waveform will looks like a purely sinusoidal, the output waveform will reflect as like a input only, but absence of a negative cycle. So we are going to determine how much of fundamental frequency which is present on output side when it is a half wave rectifier. The same thing is applicable for full wave also. In a full wave, we are going to use 2 pair of diodes, and one diode is conducting for the positive half conduction and the another diode is going to work on negative half conduction. So here also we are giving AC input. It can reflect as a DC. Here also it has a positive nature but absence of a negative circle. So with these 2 outputs, we are going to determine a ripple factor. For that, we have a formula to determine the ripple factor. Ripple factor R, which is equal to root of Vrms by Vdc the whole square minus of 1. This is the formula where Vrms value formula is Vm by root 2 and the Vdc formula is Vm by 5. Where Vm value we need to get it from the oscilloscope only. First we will check the circuit connection. This is the transformer. Here we are using center tapping transformer with 0 to 12, not a 9 as shown in the apparatus required. So an output we have a 3 terminal. Since here we have a 2 diodes, so these 2 diodes are used for a full wave rectification operation only, and the output has to be given input to the resistance value. Now we are going to check as given in the block diagram. We are getting input and output waveforms in the CRO. Now this is the input waveform. It is purely sinusoidal. Now we are going to check an output. Since this is the output waveform and rectified output is going to be obtained on the oscilloscope. Now we are going for a second case. Here we are disconnected center tapping last terminal so that we have a connection between 0 to 12. So here the one diode is only active, the second is ideal. In this case, the output is half wave only rectified. We haven't fully rectified output. You can check the input value here. So in this way, we need to determine Vm value. The Vm value is already given over here. The channel 1 is representing input, channel 2 is an output, where we need to get output through a channel 2 only. For this value, this experiment, we got an output value, Vm value as a 5 volt. Based on that, we need to determine RMS. That's it. Thank you all.